The Invincible Volume 2 starts with Mark at home doing homework when his phone rings. It's his dad asking for help, warning him that a powerful enemy is entering their solar system, heading straight for Earth, and telling Mark to prepare to face him. Mark tells his father he can't breathe in space, but Nolan calmly assures him that he can hold his breath for 2 weeks, meaning Mark should manage for at least a few hours. Invincible suits up, climbs out the window, takes a deep breath, and launches straight into space. He drifts in the freezing silence, waiting, but no one appears. Without warning, he's struck from behind. A voice says he arrived too early. The alien is shocked to see someone other than Omni-Man. Mark fights back, trying to smash him into something, but there's nothing around them except endless space. They begin communicating telepathically, leaving Mark confused about how it's even possible. He lands several heavy blows, and the alien seems impressed. Mark asks if this is supposed to be a game. Suddenly, the alien hits him with a crushing punch that knocks the air out of his lungs, forcing Mark to retreat to Earth for a breath. He quickly returns and slams into the alien, sending both of them crashing into the moon's surface. Dazed, Mark asks if they can talk instead of fighting. He has too many questions. The alien agrees, surprised that Mark's predecessor never prepared him for this encounter. He introduces himself as Alan, a member of the Coalition of Planets. His mission is to travel from world to world, testing each planet's champion to decide if they are worthy of protection. Alan explains that Urath was scheduled for inspection that day and shows the evidence. Mark tells him the planet is called Earth, not Urath. Realizing his mistake, Alan admits he's been coming to Earth for years by accident, completely ignoring the planet he was actually assigned to inspect, and fears he might lose his job because of it. Thanking Invincible for helping him uncover the mistake, Alan flies away. Mark returns home for dinner and tells his parents everything that happened. Nolan is impressed and admits he wishes Mark had been there the first time he fought the alien. Mark heads back to his room exhausted, ready to collapse on his bed, but then remembers he still has homework to complete. Chapter 2 starts with Invincible plays baseball with his father as Nolan talks about the time he was kidnapped and dragged into another dimension. He explains that he was trapped there much longer than he ever told Debbie, even though only a week passed on Earth, and admits he still struggles to understand how time works there. Nolan warned Mark that his enemies would come after him. Mark said he would be ready. Mark remembers that his friend William is coming over at 1 p.m., and the two of them head to Upstate University to check it out since they're thinking about applying. With Mark out of the house, Nolan suggests that he and Debbie go upstairs and enjoy some time alone, and she happily agrees. At the same time, the teen team is holding a meeting where Robot announces that he's been offered a spot on the Guardians of the Globe, and he accepted. Samson, one of the former members, was removed after the suit that gave him his powers was destroyed, making room for Robot. Mark and William arrive at the university and are amazed by how many attractive students attend the school. They're given a tour by the orientation officer, then introduced to her assistant, David. William is instantly irritated by David, especially because everyone insists on calling him by a shortened version of his name. Back at home, Nolan and Debbie enjoy their privacy, with Nolan jokingly asking if she's ready for round 2. Meanwhile, Mark and William meet another student named Rick, who shows them around the dorms, after first asking William if he can call him Bill. After hours of walking, the two sit down on a bench to rest when, suddenly, a robot bursts out of a building and knocks them down. Mark jumps in front of his friend, suits up as Invincible, and steps in to stop it. He saves as many people as he can, but the robot completely ignores him. Instead, it dives into a metal rod, causing its body to explode. Mark changes back into his regular clothes and checks on William, who finally realizes Mark is invincible and demands to know why he never told him about his powers. They head home, and William promises to keep his secret. When Mark gets home, he sees his parents and says he's not in the mood to deal with them that night, while Debbie notices Nolan accidentally put his shirt on backward. Then Nolan gets an urgent call from the tailor, who says someone broke into his shop and stole something important: the power suit he was rebuilding for Samson so he could regain his abilities and rejoin the Guardians of the Globe. Invincible Chapter 3 starts with, after a long superheroic week, Mark was sleeping on his bed. In Midnight City, two criminals were using a machine to break into a building and rob the place. It was nearly morning, but the city never saw daylight anymore. Midnight had had been trapped in darkness ever since the Midnight Magician completed his deadly mission 3 years earlier. The two thugs believed the city was mostly deserted, but they were wrong. Darkwing was already patrolling the streets. He quickly takes them down, using his gadgets to disable and restrain them. Before he can finish, an alert comes in from the Guardians of the Globe, ordering him to return to base immediately. He isn't the only one receiving the call. Red Rush, who is out on a date, gets the same urgent message. In Boston, War Woman wakes up after sleeping nude and heads into the kitchen where her girlfriend is making breakfast. Suddenly, a massive figure smashes into the house and tells her she must return, claiming she doesn't belong among mortal humans. She refuses to obey and attacks the intruder, completely destroying him with her mace. Soon after, she receives the same alert on her phone and is forced to report back to base. At the same time, Aquarius is resting on the throne of Atlantis when he gets the message, while Martian Man and Green Ghost are out on a mission and are also ordered to return immediately. The final member, and the most powerful of them all, Immortal, is finishing his own mission. After defeating his enemy, Immortal heads back to base to find out what the emergency is, but no one seems to know who called the meeting or why. Without warning, an attacker strikes, slaughtering them one by one. Immortal demands the coward reveal himself, but when he turns around and sees who the attacker is, he is stunned. Before he can react, he is killed as well. Immortal had never liked Omni-Man, and the feeling was mutual. Chapter 4 begin with, the following day, Detective Damian Darkblood questions Omni-Man about the massacre and asks if he knows anyone powerful enough to wipe out the Guardians all at once. He believes Samson could be responsible, especially since his power suit was stolen from the tailor just a day earlier. Meanwhile, Invincible comes home and finds Adam Eve in his room, completely devastated. When he asks what's wrong, she tells him she caught her boyfriend Rex cheating on her with multiple Kates. Mark's mother walks into the room and is stunned to see Eve in her son's bed. She tells both of them to come downstairs. She's upset with Mark for bringing a girl into his room, but before he can explain, Nolan enters and tells Mark that the Guardians of the Globe have been killed and that they must attend the funeral the next day. The following day, Omni-Man prepares for the funeral. Debbie asks if he's thought about what they should do for Mark's birthday next week, but he admits he completely forgot. Heroes from everywhere gather at the funeral. Some of them suspect Samson, but Detective Damian clears him, explaining that he was home all week and didn't even know the Guardians had died. His reaction seemed honest. Omni-Man delivers a speech saying how much he respected the Guardians and how they were his mentors when he first arrived on Earth. He suddenly stops when he notices the Mauler twins standing in the back. They claim they're not there to cause trouble and only came to pay their respects. Suddenly, the funeral is disrupted by one of Samson's friends, who wants revenge on the Guardians for abandoning Samson when he needed them most. Sanford wears a powerful armored suit, but Omni-Man takes him down with a single strike. That night, William comes over to talk to Mark. Curious about his powers, he asks Mark if he can take him on a test flight, joking about how strange the situation feels. Later that night, at the cemetery where the Guardians are buried, two men decide to dig up Immortal's grave, believing that drinking from his skull will make them immortal. After they finish digging, the Mauler twins appear and thank them for doing most of the hard work for them.